Good morning. Welcome to this service of Unity of Boerne. We're about to enjoy the presence of Spirit within us, infinite presence that is always with us. And I'm so glad that you're able to join us this morning. You who are from Pathlighters, you who are from other churches that have decided to tune in, we have people starting to come. They're filling in right now. This is an exciting day. This is a joy-filled day if we allow it. And joy is a decision we make. So I hope for the next hour you're blessed by what you see, what you hear, and know that you are in the house that love built when you are worshiping with us in this way. We invite you to come if you're able in person. Meanwhile, as I always say to you, and mean it sincerely, come and join the family.
Good morning, everyone. Is that on?
Good morning. Morning.
Is the mic on? Good morning. Mic is not on, so what do we have to do to get the mic on? Mike's.
It was fine. And I hear you.
Everybody.
Testing what you have.
All right.
I turned it up slightly.
On the mic now? Yes. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ann King. I'd like to welcome you all here to Unity Church of Boerne, and we're very happy to have David back. We love David.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Back in the whole
And please stand, and David will lead us in our joy song, In the Stillness of Silence.
In the stillness of the silence, I am one with perfect light. I am healed, I live in freedom. Joy now fills me, thrills me, mind and heart. In the stillness of the silence, I am one with light and love. I am wise, my thoughts are loving. Peace now fills me, thrills me, mind and heart. In the stillness of the silence, I am one with God the good. I am trusting as I listen. Faith now fills me, mind and heart.
Thank you. Please be seated. I'm looking around. I do not see anybody that's here for the first time. I see some of you that are here for the millionth time.
Marcella's back.
Yeah, she's been here. She's here off and on, but she's in town, I guess. Anyway, I'd like to welcome you all to Unity Church of Boerne, and there is a prayer request form. I will remind you in your order of service, so if you have a prayer request, you can drop them in the prayer box, which is up here. You can drop them in the prayer box when it gets time. Jay will bring it around, and they are prayed for with our own prayer circle for a week, and then they're sent to Silent Unity. They're prayed for a month through their prayer mission, and group prayer is very powerful, so I urge you to fill out a sheet if you would like to pray for anyone or yourself. For the announcements today, one is I just want to remind you that on that back table under the chalkboard, we do have daily words. They're 2 months at a time now, so the ones that are back there are July and August. And since this is the end of June, if you want to pick one up, there's no charge for that. Please take one. And also in the beginning of the month, we say, Don't take your bulletins, just pull out the insert because we reuse them. Well, we won't be reusing them anymore because that's June, so you can take the whole thing if you want and list different things in there. We're still having Sunday morning book discussion, Practicing the Presence by Joel Goldsmith. We had a really good group today. I think we had 10 or 12 people, and I encourage you to come. You can come anytime. We read a little bit and we talk a lot. So, today we're having lunch at Shanghai, which is over by HEB. And if you would like to come and haven't told me already, let me know. Also, if you are not getting the weekly emails, one goes out, I think it's on Thursday maybe, or Friday, about what's coming up and who our musician is and the speakers and what the lesson is and all that kind of stuff. And we also send out a monthly newsletter and occasionally special notices, things as small as don't forget to set your clocks back or forward or whatever. So if you're not getting emails, do sign up on the back. And if you have a question about it because you're not getting them, look in your spam and see. Every once in a while they adjust the filters and stuff you've been getting starts going into spam. So let us know if there's a problem. A lot of Zoom activities going on. This says what the mystics know, but that's not right. It is Joe Goldsmith's what? Infinite Way? Okay.
At
And-
night, it's at
7 o'clock on Sunday, so it'll be there tonight. 3 Course in Miracles group, Bob Patterson leads 2 of them on Zoom, Monday at 7 and Tuesday at 2. Jay leads one Wednesday at 8. And then there's also the Pathlighters on Thursday at 8 p.m. And those are listed in your order of service under classes and activity. And the login information is there. And also you can go on our website, which is unityofboerne.org, and look for them there. Also, just as a side note, the women's bathroom is broken and it's locked, but the men's is okay. And if you notice water in the men's bathroom, I think it's leaking under from the women's, but I've turned the water off. So there is a bathroom available, just not the women's. So you have to be a man. No, you don't. You don't even have to use the urinal. Okay. Daily Word, Maria.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. As we quietly and gently prepare for the reading of the daily word, we remember that we are in spirit with millions of daily word readers and churches throughout the world. The Christ candle, which is also the church candle, the Christ candle is lit as a reminder of the Spirit of God within all of us, which we call the Christ within. The word for today is kindness. The affirmation is, I am love in action, sharing acts of kindness. It is my nature to be kind. Divine love is inherent within me, part of my spiritual identity. Opportunities abound to be kind, and I hold that intention today. Ideas will fill my mind, perhaps as a nudge to call a neighbor, send a note, extend a smile, or give a compliment. Practicing kindness includes sharing my gifts and talents in ways that allow me to express my individuality by giving of myself. Focusing on kindness, I am patient in all my dealings and resist easy judgments and prejudice. I am keenly aware that challenging situations can frustrate me, but I also welcome them as occasions to call upon my higher self as a loving and peaceful being. The more I practice kindness, the more easily it becomes the song of my heart and my way of life. The affirmation, the scripture is from Zechariah 7, verse 9. Render true judgments, show kindness and mercy to one another. The affirmation is, I am love in action, sharing acts of kindness. My name is Maria. Thank you for worshiping with our Unity of Boerne family.
Thank you.
Well done.
Please stand and we'll say together the words for the miracle moment.
I
Radiate joy and happiness right now. I vibrate to the good, the powerful, the wonderful energy that I embody right now. My inner world is remade, and I am at home there. I am blessed and am a blessing to everyone I meet. And so it is. Remain standing for the celebration song, It's a Special Day.
And it is a special day. I'm not going to make any jokes about how hot is it. No. This is a nice one. Something new occurring, something very stirring, something of the Spirit blesses me today. Energies are swarming, totally transforming. Something of the Spirit blesses me today. It's a special day. It's a special day. I can feel it deeply in a special way. It's a special day. It's a special day. I can feel it deeply in a special way. Knowledge is provided. I am being guided. Something of the Spirit blesses me with light. I have perfect leading to the good I'm needing. Something of the Spirit blesses me with light. It's a special day. It's a special day. I can feel it deeply in a special way. It's a special day. It's a special day. I can feel it deeply in a special way. I accept my blessing. Through it I'm expressing something of the Spirit, gloriously good. Every trouble ceases, all my trouble increases. Something of the Spirit blesses me with good. It's a special day. It's a special day. I can feel it deeply in a special way. It's a special day. It's a special day. I can feel it deeply in a special way. I can feel it deeply in a special way.
Remain standing. We have one more thing. We're going to have our opening prayer together. Unity of Boerne is a vibrant, loving, spiritual community, providing sacred space for personal growth. We honor and celebrate the Christ within all. Thank you. Now you can be seated. I'm going to turn this over to Jay for the remainder of the service.
Good morning. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
We are a praying community. And I know that each one of you here affirms and believes in and celebrates the infinite spirit which in we live, move, and have our being. And in this box represent requests of all types covering the gamut of human experience. But we know one thing is common with all of these. These folks have the Spirit within them just as we do. We're called on right now to radiate and affirm and show our love and invoke the presence of Spirit so that these dear ones know that they are not alone and that the presence is with them. I invite you to join me in prayer right now. Oh, infinite presence, we give thanks for you, for the fact, for the truth that we're able to turn to you for all needs and that they are supplied according to your nature, according to your riches and glory. Comfort those who need comforting this morning. Be with those who are in celebration and joy. We know that in the presence of Spirit is joy. And we affirm that now. We affirm your presence in the lives of these dear ones. And we give thanks for it abundantly. And so it is. Amen.
I'm just going to say a bit about this song. I'm going to do a song today that I wrote a dozen years ago in 2010. I was going through a lot of transformation at that time. Personal, musical, spiritual. It was, at the time, quite trying. And I was leaving a marriage. My kids weren't happy, especially my son with me. And so, going through a lot. But I discovered this practice of applying infinite love and gratitude to things that were in your way, your path. And it seemed to help harmonize the negative aspects. So, as I went on my journey, and I reworked the song later to have a little more aspect of truth and grace became a big part of it. And when I found out what Jay's message was today, a few weeks ago, I said, yeah, it's time to bring the song back. And for a lot of other reasons. So, as we go down our path, one other thing I would like to say, I'm dedicating the song to my very first grandchild. It was just born 4 weeks early this week. And so I'm very blessed with that. And oddly enough, his first name is Jay. So anyway, by the way, words of warning, there's lyrics in the song that are in an ancient language too. So. Breaking through to find my way, remaining present here today. Perception's turned all upside down now, or is it the other way around? Since love is all we are, let go and see who you can be. Are those my thoughts between your thoughts? Are those your feelings between mine? They were locked up in my heart. Now they're here in our space and time. Since love is all we are, let go and see who you can truly be. Through infinite love and gratitude, I move through time and space. Yes, infinite love and gratitude, from karma into grace. The way of grace is within your heart. Infinite love and gratitude, sat now, now. Namo Nama, Om Ganapataye, Namo Nama, Om Ganapataye, Namo Nama, Om Ganapataye, Namo Nama. Ganesha Sharanam Ganesha, Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha, Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha. Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha, Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha, Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha, Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha, Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha. I see you trying to find your way. being present here today. Turn your perception upside down now. I think it's the other way around. Since love is all we are, help me to see of all I can see through infinite love and gratitude. I move from time and space, infinite love and gratitude, from karma into grace. The way of grace is within your heart. Infinite love and gratitude, infinite love and gratitude, infinite love and gratitude. The way of truth and grace is within your heart. Infinite love and gratitude.
Thank you, David. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And congratulations on your grandbaby.
Baby.
I like that first name.
Yeah. I figured it was.
Good morning, dear friends and family of Unity of Boerne. It's wonderful to be with you this morning, as always. When I was thinking about the title for this message, about a month ago, it occurred to me that every spiritual experience, every religious experience, whatever you want to call it, is an appeal by our higher selves to be something more than we are, either to gain something or to give something. It is a way of saying my world and what's in it is not working the way I'd like it to right now. So in our humanness, we reach for the godness, for want of a better word. And it's done all over the world in mosques and temples and churches and synagogues, the act of reaching from our smallness to its largeness. And unfortunately, I think that this type of thinking has led to the idea that God is somewhere outside us, away from us, unacquainted with us, and what we go through on a daily basis. In other words, we've deified God so much that we've made God unable to really be part of our experience, because what does God know about us? Well, there's an answer to that. The enlightened masters answered that question. You know them throughout history. Buddha, all the way to Krishnamurti, to Edgar Casey, to the Fillmores, and our, of course, master teacher, Christ Jesus, who was in all ways, as Scripture says, tested and tried as we are. And I will also say that he was a person who saw the face of spirit in every person he met, and he remembered God. And he also said, these things I do, you will do greater. So he reposed quite a bit of trust in us. I'll say that his faith in us was out of this world. And he said, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So we're called from the ordinary to the extraordinary. And that's what we celebrate this morning. No matter where we are in our journey, no matter what we're going through, and many of us are going through quite a lot, we know the power and the presence is not far away and removed. It's close by, and especially when we're in here, and those of you who are tuning in online, you'd have to be here to understand really the tie that binds, the beauty of the love that is present in Unity of Boerne. We are a people who realize that life can be extraordinary, and we celebrate that, and we come to learn the tools to do that, to live that, to express that, but most importantly, to be that. You have to embody the change you wish to see if you want to be out of this world, if you want something out of this world. And I need to tell you that while we seek an experience that is not of this world, the presence is with us in this world. If that sounds complicated and convoluted, stay with me a minute. The presence never left you for a minute, nor could it. But your realization of it, your awareness of it, that moment where you let down the ego guard and say, I know who I am, I remember who I am, I will arise and go to my Father, it's said in Scripture, the prodigal son story. And what do we do in religion or spirituality except say, I want to arise from where I am and go to a higher plane in consciousness? And ladies and gentlemen, that's what it's all about. Expanding consciousness, rising higher, taking steps that we didn't think we could take. That is the purpose for being here. This is our classroom. We get to experiment, and we get to do it in a joyful way if we allow it. How many times have you heard, or was I heard from my parents and those that were around me, you're going to have to do the task anyway, you might as well seek some joy in it. I never found the joy in taking the trash out. I never found the joy in doing homework. I really didn't. But I did learn as I got older that there was a certain practice that I could bring to the mundane, the everyday, and that is to realize that this day where I am is special. And if you don't think this day is special, try missing one of them. So it's how you set your intention, your attitude, as is said, greatly determines your altitude. I know that sounds trite, but it happens to be true. I've proven it in my life, and I know many of you have done the same. So to come out of the world that you inhabit right now, if you're seeking more life, more love, more joy, more presence, more of the abundant life, you have to release the ideas and beliefs that limit you. Who spoke words over you that you believed and hold to this present day? Who told you that you weren't good enough, that you weren't strong enough, that you didn't have what it took? We all have stories of teachers who didn't teach in the nicest way, and we remember those. But all the teachers that call forth the best in us, those that see our inherent possibilities, do we remember those with joy? You can be taught in many ways. The important thing is that you get to make the decision out of all the information that comes to you, and there's a lot, especially these days. With technology being the way it is, we are inundated with information, but still, you are the decider. You are the one that makes the decision about you. And so this morning, to have the experience that I'm talking about, I'm calling you to take a step higher inside your mind. Now, I know so many of you are on higher levels of consciousness because I've talked to you. I know what you think. I've heard your experiences, and they bless me. We empower one another. And that's what it's about when we come together. Scripture says, forsake not the assembling of being together. Forsake not the assemblance of each other. In other words, it's good to come together. It's good to uphold one another, to call forth the best in one another. So this business of feeling less than is, I think, a blight on our personalities, because what it says is, I am a fixed and finished product at this level. Why? Because someone told me. Because someone had that idea for me. No, you accepted that idea. You made the decision that you were going to believe what someone else said about you. It resonated with something in you perhaps way back. There is nothing that can find lodging in your consciousness if it doesn't have a place for it. In other words, have you noticed how when people get very upset and someone takes offense, it's usually because they're afraid that what this person is saying is secretly true. They wouldn't for the life of them let the other person know that, but they're afraid that the words of criticism that are coming toward them, the words of limitation, are actually maybe true. It's playing in to an old tape. We have a voice that never stops. We're not aware of it when we sleep, except, as I spoke of last week, in our dreams. So really, this life force is seeking expression all the time, 24 hours a day. We can't get away from it. We might as well make friends with it. And if we make friends with it and we learn from it, we can be out of this world literally. We'll be in the world physically, but we'll do things differently. Things will feel better. We'll feel better. We'll approach the things that have to be done with a different attitude. Those who have gone through great challenges, heartbreak, suffering, have you noticed they emerge if they have taken the steps for personal growth and they haven't allowed those things to destroy them? They look back and say, I wouldn't have traded that experience because in it I found out who I was, what I was capable of, and I grew by leaps and bounds. That's the key to what I'm talking about this morning, to be different than what this world says you should be or expects you to be. Everybody knows what the norm is, but each of us express at different levels. Do we want a normal life? We can have that, whatever that is to you. But if you want to express at higher levels in different ways, if you really want to go out of this world, you have to maintain an ideal of yourself. Not an idea, an ideal of yourself that changes your image of yourself. The way you see yourself is the way you're going to be. What you say to yourself, you're going to say to others. You're going to meet yourself in every person that you see. So you can see that it pays great dividends to change the ideas that we have about ourselves. If you want to change what you're getting, change what you're giving. Give from that place inside that is nothing less than the God presence within you. It's the principle we celebrate. It's the truth we sing about. It's the daily word we read. It's the books that we say, you've got to read this because it's great. We're all seeking more life, new life, wonderful life. And it can be yours. It can be yours by a choice, by a decision. You can live out of this world when you live out of your conditioned mind. Vernon Howard wrote a book that meant a lot to me. You may not know of Vernon Howard. He kind of flew under the radar, but he was a disciple of Gurdjieff and Krishnamurti, which basically these folks said that the greatest thing in life that you can do is to be and to flow with it out. To, in other words, know that you're it already. There's nothing you need to add to you to make you more than you are in your spiritual stature. Well, anyway, Vernon Howard wrote this book, Mystic Path to Cosmic Power. And what he said about this and about going out of this conditioned world is that you can no more understand it with your lower self mind, and he used this word, than you can paint the air. And I thought, what a great analogy, trying to paint the air. I mean, who can do it? He said, you have to walk up higher, and the way you walk up higher is sitting down and thinking. You don't do anything, you realize something. And from that realization, then your actions begin to line up with your intent, and your actions become more meaningful than running around in circles and saying, I can't, I don't know how, I was told, on and on, the negative litany goes. I suggest that you read Mystic Path to Cosmic Power. It's available in a lot of bookstores, and you can get it on eBay. And basically, it just says, be comfortable with being first, and all the good things will be added to you. You see how people run out and try to get things, and as soon as they get something, sometimes they tire of it and go to something else. We get the car, we get the job, we get the relationship, and it's still like, they say, but there's more, and we get on this hamster wheel of success, which is fine if that's success to you. If you want that, that's wonderful, I applaud it. But many people find that to be drill after a while, and drill is no way to live. I like things that are new and spontaneous. I like to see people come alive with the idea of their own possibilities. I like to come alive to the idea of my own possibilities. But I know that I have to be comfortable being first. And what does being really mean? It means nothing less than the realization that I am a God-ordained person on purpose here. The sparks of truth that Emmett Fox talked about are in you. No matter what you're going through today, no matter where you are, no matter how far you think you've fallen, you've never fallen too far to get up again with a realization of who you are and be out of the world of pain and trouble and all those attendant things that we make a decision for oftentimes. You know, we decide sometimes out of our own favor. We do it because it feels familiar. We do it because mother and dad said so, or dad said so. We do it because the teacher says so. At least we feel security in the fact that somebody else shares a poor opinion of ourselves, even if they were the ones that gave that opinion. It's called Munchausen syndrome in psychology. When you begin to agree with your captor, when you agree with a person who is putting you down, because at least that feels secure. Shake that off. You're more than that. You're on purpose here. You have a destiny that's divine, and you find that out through your thinking. That's the only way it can be done, through your thinking. If it was through your behaving, think about that. If it was through something that you did by ritual, then you would follow steps 1, 2, and 3 and say, I'm enlightened. But there's a different way of doing it in spirit. The realization I'm talking about doesn't have a stepwise process. It has a surrender process. In other words, I surrender my smallness, my ego self, the things that I have had that define me, even if they're negative. I release that, and I claim the greater. I hold on to the promise of what we teach here now. And what are those promises? What is out of this world? I am. Think about those two words. I am is the antecedent to everything we create in our own lives. When we say I am, we are either empowering ourselves or limiting ourselves. If I say I am poor at math, I have declared myself a finished product. I found out I wasn't poor at it. I just didn't like it. And there's a difference. What you say I am about, pay close attention. Those words mean something. Scripture, you'll remember, before you were, I am. Does that ring a bell? I am the very words of creation. And so what you I am yourself about matters greatly. When you decide to go out of this world to have a new experience, make sure that what follows I am is the highest and the best and the biggest intention you could have for yourself. This is not for sissies. The spiritual life calls for strength. It calls for dedication. But first, it calls for realization. Self-realization, what is that? The realization that the everyday conditioned you isn't the truth at all. Oh, it's what interacts with other people. It's what ties our shoes. It's what pumps our gas. It's how we balance a checkbook. It's those mundane things. But that's such a small part of who you really are. Do you realize that if you enlarge the scope of your own mind this morning to what Christ Jesus and what every other master has said. If you did that this morning, you would not even recognize yourself. It's said that we don't use even 10% of the power we have in our mind. Sometimes I look at people and I think they're not even getting the 10%. I mean, we hold ourselves down by our conditioned thoughts. Oh, we blame it on other people. But that gets tiresome after a while because I don't want somebody else in charge of my destiny. I have enough trouble this week, for example, with AT&T being in charge of my internet and my cell phone. I can't text. There are a lot of things that I can't do, and I had to be at peace with that. I had to tell the people that I loved and that I communicated with, I may not be able to get to you as fast as I want to, but no, they're working on it, and I have faith that it'll be done. And slowly but surely, it's getting done. That's the mundane stuff. And I'm not going to allow that to pull me down from the ideas that I have that I want to be lifted up, that I want to see expressed in my life. It's those little things, those things that we say, gosh, I wish that could have happened. Then it sets the tune and tempo for our whole day. And then miracles come our way, and we can't recognize them because we're too busy worrying about the internet, the phone, the small stuff, the Lilliputians of life, the things that come and go. What I'm talking about is the thing that is you. You are. And in fact, I like to say, God is, we are, that's that. If that was a good message, I could get up here and deliver that and sit down. But it so happens that I so love the truth that I love to elucidate about the things that are possible, the capabilities that you have, the inner greatness that's yours that you may not have recognized because you bought in to what somebody else said in this world. You stepped out of your conditioned world and had entertained a new possibility for yourself. What does that mean to you today? Only you can answer that. And it doesn't matter how old we are. It doesn't matter what we've been through. In fact, sometimes the more challenging things that we've been through, the greater the overcoming. The things that have really hurt us are places that we can, as Max Cleveland said in his wonderful book, become strong at the broken places. He was a man that lost 3 of his limbs, lived in a wheelchair after a grenade exploded on him in Vietnam, and came back to be the Secretary of Veterans Affairs under President Carter. Max Cleveland was quite a man. He did not allow that incident in Vietnam to define him. Now, I don't see anybody out here today that are missing limbs. And I don't see anybody here today that's called on to do what Max had to do. You're ahead of the game already. You're breathing, you're drawing breath, you're breathing, you're living. This is your chance again. Life gives you continual opportunities to change your mind, to choose again, to entertain a vision of yourself in the highest way possible. Yes, to have yourself out of this world. Now I'd like to get a little more personal. Not only out of this world, how about out of your world? You know what occupies your mind. You know where your limitations are. You know where you hurt. You know where you grieve. You know where you are strong. You also know where you're weak. It's your world. It's not mine. It's not your neighbor's. It belongs to you. And that means that since it belongs to you, you're the one that gets to remake it or stay with it. But you have to live with it. One of the things that my father said, and I'm fond of quoting him because I consider him a wise guy. I said, what do you say to someone who has messed it up so bad? I was in ministry, he was in psychology, we had some great talks. And he said, well, Jay, you got to live with it. And it sounded almost fatalistic until he said, and I agreed so much, But the way you live with what is given you determines what kind of person you are. You can take the situation you have in your life and landscape it in to something great. Have you ever seen somebody take a handicap and capitalize on it? Have you ever seen someone be able to take what life has dealt them and become something great? Look at Bill W., the alcoholic. And Alcoholics Anonymous proceeded from that. Look at Salvador Dali. I know, I look at some of those paintings and I see those clocks slipping down the stairs. I wonder what in the world he was thinking, but they intrigued me. But look at Dali. The art teacher said, forget it. Do something else. And he didn't listen. And you don't have to listen. Though when we make up our own minds, I believe that the whole power of heaven and presence comes to back us up. Nothing, it was said, if you can remember this statement from way back, nothing can stand in the way of the person who is determined to achieve. Those are big words, and I always thought, really? And then I said about proving them. I remember doing things in my life where people said, you're not going to be able to do it the way you think you will. But I did. Sometimes it was a little different than I had thought, but I achieved, by and large, what I set out to do. Because I realized and later on when I discovered New Thought and Unity, not only I, but the presence of Spirit and God went with me and made the way plain for me. So if you want to go out of your world, not just out of this world, out of your world, you have to make some new decisions about yourself. What you say to yourself and about yourself has to line up with the highest truth that you can imagine. Don't worry that it sounds too grandiose. Claim it. Life will help you mold that as you go along. But if you want something, state it, claim it, write it, know it, and go be it. Start being the thing you want to become. And the way you do that is to allow the lesser things, the voices that I talked about that pull you down and hurt you, and you remember, you let those go and you say, thank you for teaching me what I don't want to be. You served a great purpose. I now know what not to listen to. And I know that I was the product, listening to this was these other folks was the product of their limited thinking. And I bought into it. Forgive yourself for that as you make a new decision. You can't go very far if you're holding on to negativity and frustration and anger about what somebody did to you. I've said before, metaphysics without forgiveness is valueless. And that's not only what I think is kind, I think it's eminently practical. So you forgive yourself, and you forgive others, and you entertain a new idea about yourself, and you stake your claim. Emmett Fox wrote a real tiny little book called Stake Your Claim. And basically it was about this. Draw your line in the sand and stake everything that you have on the achievement of what you want. And then when that happens, set another goal, and another, and another. It's your life. You get to be as big inside as you want to be. You also get to be as small as you allow yourself to be. I love seeing people expand to be what they can become. It thrills me. It charges my batteries. I love hearing how people have used truth and changed and dreamed and had the life they dreamt about. So can you today let yourself release those things that have held you back and have weighed you down and have made you believe you're less than you are, and remember the truth about who you are, the truth that we celebrate here in New Thought and Unity. I am a powerful, radiant child of God, capable of mastery in all that I undertake, because the presence of the living Spirit goes with me and before me. That's all. very powerful statement. You say that long enough, you begin to make grooves in your mind, and it begins to repeat for you while you're not even thinking about it. It's really interesting the way the mind works. Really what you feed it is what comes out of it. Be careful who you listen to. Be careful what you believe. Be careful about the concepts of yourself that you entertain. And if you're hurting this morning, if you're at a very low place, realize that you're at the exact place you need to make your demonstration. We talk about demonstration in New Thought. What is that? Simply results. I don't believe that there's such a thing as failure. I believe you produce results. You see, it's all in how you talk to yourself. And that's a whole other talk for a whole other time. What you say when you talk to yourself, what you believe when you talk to yourself determines your life. It's just that simple. So start speaking words of power over your life. Start speaking words, yes, of glory. I am. And then afterwards, put your fondest hope, idea, whatever it may be, I am. And then watch it come to pass. Oh, it may not come to pass in your time. It may not come to pass in just the way you think it will. But come to pass it must, because intention is everything. And we know about intention. Our life follows our thoughts. Our intentions follow our thoughts. It's all up to us. And as I've said, that scares the devil out of some people, to know that it's all up to them. But to those of us who know that there's power and presence of God that's in us, that walks with us and holds our hand through the way. And as the Course in Miracles says, fear would be impossible if we knew who walked with us every moment of every day. Think about that. And the Course says something else that I love. Walk ye in glory with your head held high and fear no evil. Powerful words. Speak them to yourself. Listen to them. I also am a fan of recording them and playing them back in your own voice. Record the best things you can say to yourself and then listen to yourself. Listen to that. Begin the process of retraining your mind and allow the grace of Spirit, the graciousness of God to come in and uphold you in your positive intention. God is present as much right now as present ever was. All you have to do is to allow it. Let that guard down so that you can let the blessings in and you can bless yourself and the rest of us. It's my pleasure to see that happen. I want to hear the stories that you have to say about that and the things that you did and the way you changed and the way you celebrated truth and the way you expressed your divinity. May God bless each and every one of you this morning. And so it is. Amen.
In the midst of his children, the Lord said he would be. It doesn't take very many. It can be just 2 or 3. And I feel the same sweet spirit I felt oft times before. Surely I can say I've been with the Lord. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel his mighty power and his grace. There's a holy hush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face.
We know that the presence of the Lord is in this place right now because we're together. And it is said, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of them. So at this moment, we take a deep breath and relax into being. We release the concerns, the cares, the upsets, the negativities, the things that have bothered us. Vanish in this time of pure possibility. We know that we are right now standing in the light of truth inside, no matter our posture. We are meeting the presence of the God within. And we feel uplifted in this moment. There's a joy in us. Maybe we're not acquainted with it as much as we could be, but that joy is there. It's an ancient song that reminds us who we are, that we listen to right now. We know it through the din of confusion or upset. We still know that it is the presence of who we are. It speaks to us lovingly and bids us to remake our lives by remaking our ideas about who we are. And in this presence, there is nothing to forgive because nothing has been held against you or me. The pure potential that we have is mirrored by this presence that loves us completely, totally, unconditionally. We give thanks that this force of love that animates us also allows us to be without judgment, without criticism. We're invited to come up higher. And it's safe to take that step right now. It's safe to release the limited ideas of who we are. Where we need help and healing right now, we take abundantly of it. In our mind, in our body, in our emotions. We feel it at work in us now. And it says, I love you. I'm here for you. I always was, and I always will be. We honor that presence right now. We accept what it says about us as we affirm our strength, our wholeness, our completeness, knowing we are enough just as we are, and we can change our thoughts and build on what we are, the life of our greatest and fondest dreams. And in this time of recreation, we give thanks that we're able to do this. But we want to visit this area, this part of ourselves more often. We're in partnership with the infinite. We have profound thanks. We give thanks not only for new beginnings, but for the things that came into our lives and taught us valuable lessons that brought us where we are to this moment, where the power is and where the presence is. We emerge from this time renewed, recreated, refreshed, with a brand new idea about ourselves and our lives. We give thanks for this and say, it is so. Amen. That as you give, you receive. And I'd like to say just a little something about that I proved in my life. I love chili pequins. And I planted one in the garden. Just one. All shriveled up. I wasn't going to eat it, put it down. And this year, there are hundreds out of one. What I'm trying to say is the world loves to give back abundantly. Spirit loves to give back abundantly. As you give, you receive. As I gave that shriveled up little chili pekin, I have been pulling those in by the cords. The divine law of giving and receiving. It's been said you can't outgive God. You can't outgive this world. You can't outgive the seed time and the harvest. You know about this, and you know that we rely on your free will gifts and offerings. I ask for your best gift that you're able, and may you have a great harvest, not only of chili pekin, but anything else you want in your life. I affirm it for you. And I have a percussion thing. May I have a
Freely, freely I have received. Freely, freely I give. My love for me blesses all that I am, all that I give and receive.
And for those of you who are tuning in to the broadcast, we give thanks for you. We know that wonderful things happen in your life. You know we, as I said, rely on your free will gifts and offerings. Please give as you are led to give. And now we repeat our blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I send it forth with my blessings and my love. Amen.
Love can build a bridge between your hearts and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's
Hello, everyone. I'm Tom Allen, and on behalf of all of us here in the sanctuary, I just want to thank you for joining with us today for our Sunday experience. And we feel that it's always more every time another person steps into the circle. And for us, you were a part of the circle today. Here we celebrate our active connection with our ever-present source and our Creator, and honor that which we call the Christ within each of us. We meet for service every Sunday at 11 here in the sanctuary, and we invite you to join us here or tune into our live stream as you have today. For an email list of our activity, simply email us here at unityofboerne@yahoo.com. And again, we appreciate and welcome you into our family circle. And we thank you for all your support. And we do wish you a most fulfilling week. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day.